Jake Morrison stared at the blank screen in front of him. For 3 hours, he had been trying to reach Earth. Every channel was silent. Every frequency showed nothing but empty space noise. The communication panel that usually buzzed with messages from home now showed only darkness. "Still nothing, Commander?" asked Zara Walsh as she walked into the control room. Her voice carried worry that she tried to hide. Zara was the best communication officer Jake had ever worked with. If she couldn't reach Earth, nobody could. "Nothing at all," Jake said. He rubbed his tired eyes. "It's like Earth just stopped existing." The space station Sentinel Prime floated at the edge of the solar system. It was built by humans and aliens working together. The station watched over the space around Earth and kept track of ships coming and going. Jake had been the commander here for 2 years. In all that time, Earth had never gone quiet. Not even for a minute. "Maybe there's a solar storm," Zara suggested. "You know how those can mess up signals." Jake shook his head. "I checked. The sun is calm. No storms. No flares. Nothing that would block our signals." He pointed to another screen. "Look at this. The automatic beacons around Earth are still working. We can see the space stations. We can detect the moon bases. But no one is answering our calls." Zara frowned. "That doesn't make sense. There are millions of people on Earth. Thousands of ships in orbit. Someone should be talking." The door to the control room slid open with a soft hiss. Dr. Alex Turner walked in, but he wasn't alone. Behind him came 3 aliens from different species. Jake recognized them all. There was Vexstar, who looked like a tall crystal sculpture that glowed with soft blue light. Next to him stood Kroth, a massive reptile creature with scales that shifted color when he was upset. The third alien was Ziana, who resembled a metal spider but with kind, intelligent eyes. "Commander Morrison," Dr. Turner said, "we need to talk. Something very strange is happening." Jake turned his chair to face them. "If this is about Earth going silent, we're working on it." "It's not just Earth," Vexstar said. His voice sounded like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. "Ships are leaving. Many ships. From many worlds." "What do you mean, leaving?" Zara asked. Crag's scales rippled from green to dark red. "My people, the Saurian fleet. They received orders 1 hour ago. Emergency withdrawal from this sector." Jake felt a cold feeling in his stomach. Withdrawal. Why? They won't say. Ziana clicked, her metal legs tapping nervously on the floor. "My government sent the same message. All arachnid vessels must move to safe distance immediately." Dr. Turner pulled up a star map on the main screen. Red dots showed ships moving away from Earth's region of space. There were hundreds of them. Ships from dozens of different alien species, all heading away from human space as fast as they could travel. "This started exactly when Earth went silent," Dr. Turner said. "It's like they were waiting for it to happen." Jake stood up so fast his chair spun backward. "Waiting for what to happen? What aren't you telling us?" The 3 aliens looked at each other. Vexstar's light dimmed. Krog's scales turned almost black. Ziana's eyes clicked as they focused on something far away. "There are old stories," Vexstar said slowly. "Very old. From before any of our species traveled between stars." "What kind of stories?" Zara demanded. "Stories about humans," Ziana said. "About what happens when humans go quiet." Jake felt the cold feeling in his stomach get worse. "We've only been in space for a few hundred years. What old stories could..." "They'll be about us." Krogd H made a rumbling sound deep in his throat. "Not about your humans. About the humans who came before." "Before?" Dr. Turner stepped forward. "What do you mean, before?" "The records are sealed," Vexter said. "Only the eldest among us know the truth. But the warnings are clear. When Earth falls silent, when the humans retreat, something terrible is coming." The control room became very quiet. Jake could hear the hum of the station's engines and the soft beeping of computers. Outside the windows, stars twinkled in the black of space. Everything looked normal, but Jake knew it wasn't. "I want to see these records," he said. "Impossible," Ziana clicked. "The knowledge is forbidden to younger species." "We're not asking," Zara said, her voice hard. "Earth is our home. Our families are down there. If you know something about what's happening, you need to tell us." Vexter's light pulsed brighter for a moment, then dimmed again. "You don't understand. The records are forbidden for your protection, and ours." An alarm started beeping. "Doctor!" Turner rushed to a computer terminal. His face went pale as he read the screen. "Commander, you need to see this." His voice was barely a whisper. Jake walked over to look at the display. It showed sensor readings from deep space probes scattered throughout the solar system. The numbers didn't make sense at first. Then Jake realized what he was looking at. "Energy readings," he said. "Massive energy readings, coming from Earth. Not just Earth," Dr. Turner said. He pointed to other numbers on the screen. "From the asteroid belt, from Jupiter's moons, from places we thought were empty space." Zara joined them at the terminal. "Those energy levels are impossible. Nothing we know could generate that much power." "Nothing you know," Krog rumbled. His scales had turned completely black now. "But your people knew once. Long ago, they knew." On the screen, the energy readings kept climbing. Whatever was happening near Earth was getting stronger. And in the distance, Jake could see more red dots on the star map. More alien ships fleeing human space. "Commander," came a voice from the communication station. It was Lisa Hayes, one of the junior officers. "I'm picking up something strange." Jake walked over to her station. "What is it?" "Automated signals," Lisa said, "coming from beacons throughout human space. But they're not in any language I recognize." "Play it," Jake ordered. A strange sound filled the control room. It was like music, but deeper, like voices, but not quite human. The alien visitors made frightened noises when they heard it. "Turn it off," Vextar said urgently. "Please, turn it off." Jake signaled Lisa to stop the recording. "What was that?" "The old language," Sienna whispered. "The language of the first humans. The ones who ruled the galaxy before we ever reached the stars." Jake felt like the floor was moving under his feet. "That's impossible. Humans evolved on Earth. We have the fossil records. We know our history." "You know the history you were allowed to remember," Kroth said sadly. "But the galaxy remembers more." Dr. Turner was staring at his computer screen again. "Commander, there's something else. The gravitational sensors around Earth are showing anomalies." "What kind of anomalies?" "It's like massive objects are appearing in space around Earth. Objects that weren't there before. Objects bigger than cities." Jake looked out the window toward Earth. He couldn't see the planet from here, but he knew it was there. His home, the place where he was born, the place where his parents still lived. "Set course for Earth," he said. "Commander, I don't think that's wise," Vexter said. "I don't care what you think is wise," Jake replied. "Something is happening to our planet, and we're going to find out what." As Sentinel Prime began to turn toward Earth, more alarms started ringing. On every screen, the energy readings climbed higher. In the distance, the last alien ships fled toward the edge of human space, and from Earth still came only silence. Lisa Hayes had not slept in 18 hours. Her eyes burned as she stared at the communication equipment, trying every possible way to reach Earth. Radio waves, quantum signals, laser communications, nothing worked. Every message she sent disappeared into the silence around their home planet. "Any luck?" asked Ben Parker as he walked into the communication room. Ben was the station's chief engineer, and he looked as tired as Lisa felt. "Nothing," Lisa said, shaking her head. "It's like Earth is surrounded by some kind of barrier. The signals go in, but nothing comes back out." Ben sat down at the console next to her. I've been running diagnostics on all our equipment. Everything works perfectly. The problem isn't on our end. Through the window, they could see Earth in the distance. It looked normal from here, a blue and white ball floating in space. But Lisa knew something was very wrong. She had grown up on Earth. Her brother still lived there. The silence felt like a hole in her chest. Ben, she said quietly, what if everyone down there is dead? Ben was quiet for a moment. Don't think like that. Commander Morrison will figure this out. In the station's archive room, Commander Morrison stood with Dr. Turner and the alien elder Vex. The archive was a massive circular chamber filled with data cores from dozens of different civilizations. Most of the information was freely shared between species, but some files were locked away. Show me, Jake said to Vexter. The crystal beings. Light dimmed. You don't understand what you're asking. These records have been sealed for 50,000 years. 50,000. Dr. Turner stepped forward. But humans only developed space travel 500 years ago. Your humans did, Vextar said carefully. The humans you know. But you are not the first. Jake felt anger rising in his chest. Stop talking in riddles. People I care about are down there. If you know something that can help them, tell me now. Vextar moved to one of the sealed data cores. His crystalline fingers touched a hidden panel, and the core began to glow. These records were created by the Galactic Council that existed before your current civilization, before any of our current governments. They tell of an empire that once spanned half the galaxy. What empire? Jake demanded. The human empire, Vextar said softly. Your ancestors ruled over 3,000 star systems. They built technologies that we still don't understand. They protected younger species and helped them grow. Dr. Turner was scanning the files as they appeared on screen. The text was in languages he had never seen before, but the computer was slowly translating them. This can't be right. According to this, humans had faster than light travel 60,000 years ago. They had much more than that, Vexter said. They could move planets. They could create new stars. They built ships the size of moons and space stations that held billions of people. Jake stared at the ancient files. Pictures showed human cities that floated in space, beautiful beyond anything he had ever imagined. Humans in the pictures looked just like the humans of today, but they wore clothes that seemed to be made of light itself. What happened to them? Jake asked. They went to sleep, Vextar said. When a great danger threatened the galaxy, they chose to retreat. They sealed themselves away in hidden places and let the galaxy forget they had ever existed. But why? Dr. Turner asked. If they were so powerful, why didn't they fight? Because fighting would have destroyed everything they were trying to protect, Vexter explained. The enemy they faced could not be defeated by force, so they chose a different path. Jake pointed two more files appearing on the screen. What are these? Guardian protocols, Vextar said with what sounded like fear. Instructions left behind by the ancient humans. Rules for what to do if the great danger ever returned. Dr. Turner was reading as fast as he could. These protocols, they mentioned something called the deep sleep contingency, and awakening the Watchers. The Watchers? Jake asked. Vextar's light pulsed rapidly. The ancient humans didn't all go to sleep. Some stayed awake to watch over the galaxy, hidden. Guardians, who would wake the sleepers if the danger returned. An alarm started beeping. All three of them looked up as Captain Walsh's voice came over the communication system. Commander Morrison, please report to the main bridge immediately. We have a situation. Jake ran through the corridors of the station, with Dr. Turner close behind. Vexter moved more slowly, his crystalline body making soft chiming sounds as he walked on the bridge. Captain Walsh was standing at the main display screen, with Ben Parker and Lisa Hayes. The screen showed a map of human space. All the colonies, space stations, and planets where humans lived. What's the situation? Jake asked. The colonies are reporting strange behavior, Zara said. Starting about an hour ago, people began acting ... different. Different how? Ben Parker pulled up reports from the outer colonies. On New Denver, the colonial administrator says people have stopped their normal work. They're all building something together. Some kind of large structure. What kind of structure? We don't know, Lisa said. But look at this message we just received. She played an audio recording. A man's voice spoke, but it sounded strange, calm but distant, like someone talking in their sleep. This is Ryan Phillips, Colonial Administrator of New Denver. Our people have received the call. We are preparing. The Guardians are waking. The children remember what they were meant to do. Jake felt cold again. Call them back. I want to speak to Phillips directly. Lisa tried for several minutes. He's not responding, Commander. None of the colonies are responding to direct calls. They only send these automated messages. Dr. Turner was studying the reports on his tablet. Commander, look at this. It's happening on every human colony. Earth colonies, Luna colonies, Mars colonies, everywhere humans live. What's happening? Exactly. They're building, Dr. Turner said. All of them, using materials and methods that our colonists shouldn't know how to use. And they're all building the same thing, which is, we don't know. But the structures are massive, and they're all pointed toward Earth. Vexstar finally arrived on the bridge. When he saw the reports, his light became so dim it was barely visible. It has begun, he whispered. What has begun? Jake demanded. The awakening, Vexstar said. Your people are remembering. Remembering what? Who they really are. Captain Walsh pulled up new sensor data. Commander, there's more. We're detecting energy signatures from human space that match nothing in our databases. The main screen changed to show energy readings from across human territory. Bright spots appeared on planets, space stations, and even in empty space where no human settlements existed. What are those? Jake asked. Unknown technology activating, Ben said. Power sources that dwarf our fusion reactors. And they're all connected somehow, like they're part of one giant network. Dr. Turner was reading through more of the ancient files on his tablet. Commander, I found something. These Guardian protocols mention genetic triggers, dormant sequences in human DNA that activate under certain conditions. What kind of sequences? Memory sequences. Knowledge that's been sleeping in human genetic code for 50,000 years. Instructions for technologies we haven't invented yet. Jake looked around the bridge at his crew. These were people he had worked with for years. Good people, smart people, loyal people. But now he wondered what else they might be. Are you saying we're not who we think we are? I'm saying you're more than you think you are, Dr. Turner replied. According to these files, every human alive today carries the genetic heritage of the ancient empire. You're not just descendants of the Guardians. You are the Guardians. On the main screen, more energy signatures appeared. The network was growing stronger by the hour, and from every human settlement came the same message. The Guardians were waking. Commander, Lisa said urgently. I'm picking up a new signal. It's coming from Earth itself. Put it on speaker. A deep sound filled the bridge. It was like the automated signals they had heard before, but stronger. It pulsed with a rhythm that reminded Jake of a heartbeat. What is it? Zara asked. Vex made a sound like breaking glass. It's a summons. Earth is calling its children home. Jake stared at the screen showing their home planet. Earth looked the same as always, but he knew it wasn't. Something ancient was waking up down there. Something that had been waiting for 50,000 years. Sir, Ben said quietly, should we answer the call? Jake looked at his crew. Lisa was staring at Earth with strange expression. Zara had stopped moving, as if she was listening to something. Only she could hear. Even Ben seemed different, more focused somehow. I don't think we have a choice, Jake said, and deep in his mind, He heard something that might have been his own voice, or might have been the voice of someone who had lived long ago. It was saying one word, over and over: remember. The small transport ship moved through space toward Earth, carrying Jake Morrison and his crew. They had left Sentinel Prime 12 hours ago, against the strong warnings of every alien on the station. Even now, Jake could see alien ships in the distance, all moving away from human space as fast as they could travel. "Commander," Lisa Hayes said from the pilot's seat, "I'm getting more reports from the colonies." "What kind of reports?" Lisa's voice sounded different now, calmer, but more distant. "All human settlements have completed their first phase constructions. The structures are operational." Jake looked at the star map on the main screen. Every human colony now showed a bright energy signature. The signals formed a pattern that stretched across hundreds of light years. "It looks like a network," Dr. Turner said. He was studying readings on his tablet, but his eyes had a strange glow to them. "Each structure is connected to all the others." Captain Walsh was quiet at the navigation console. She had been quiet for hours now, ever since they started the journey to Earth. When Jake spoke to her, she answered, but it felt like she was listening to something else at the same time. "Zara, are you feeling all right?" She turned to look at him. Her eyes were definitely different now. They had the same blue color as always, but there was a depth to them that hadn't been there before. "I'm fine, Jake," she said. "Better than fine. I'm starting to remember." "Remember what?" "Things I never learned. Knowledge that was always there, just sleeping." She smiled, but it was a sad smile. "We're going home, Jake. For the first time in 50,000 years, we're really going home." Dr. Turner looked up from his tablet. "Commander, I've been analyzing the energy patterns from the colonies. They're not just building structures, they're building gates. Gates to where? I don't know. But the power levels suggest they can open doorways through space itself." Ben Parker was working at the engineering console. His movements were different now too, more precise, more confident. "The ship's sensors are picking up massive objects near Earth. Objects that weren't there yesterday." "Show me," Jake ordered. The main screen changed to show the space around Earth. Jake's breath caught in his throat. Huge structures floated in orbit around the planet. They were beautiful and terrible at the same time, made of materials that seemed to shift between metal and crystal and pure light. "How big are they?" Jake asked. "The smallest one is larger than our moon," Ben said quietly, "and there are dozens of them." As they watched, more structures appeared. They didn't fly in from somewhere else. They just materialized out of empty space, as if they had been hidden and were now choosing to be seen. "They were there all along," Lisa said. Waiting for what? For us to remember who we are." The communication system crackled to life. A voice spoke, but it wasn't coming from any human settlement. It was coming from Earth itself. "Children of the distant stars, children of the forgotten empire. The long sleep is ending. The watchers have awakened. Come home." Jake felt something stirring in his mind. Memories that weren't his own. Images of vast cities floating in space, of ships that could travel between galaxies, of humans working with aliens to build a better universe. "This isn't real," he said, but his voice didn't sound convinced. "It's more real than anything we've ever known," Dr. Turner said. He was staring at Earth with wonder in his eyes. "Commander, what if everything we thought we knew about human history was wrong? What if we're not a young species learning to walk among the stars? What if we're an ancient people finally waking up?" The ship's sensors detected movement near Earth's. Some of the massive structures were opening, like flowers blooming in space. Light poured out of them, not the harsh light of stars, but something warm and welcoming. "Commander," Ben said, "I'm receiving docking instructions." "From who?" "From Earth Control?" "But it's not the Earth Control we know. The signal is coming from one of those big structures." Jake made a decision that felt like the most natural thing in the world. Follow the instructions. As their ship moved closer to Earth, Jake could see that the planet itself was changing. The continents were still the same shape, but there were new lights shining up from the surface. Geometric patterns of light that covered entire countries. The cities, Zara whispered, the ancient cities are rising. What ancient cities? The ones that were buried when our people went to sleep. They're coming back to the surface. Dr. Turner was reading reports from his tablet. Commander, we're getting signals from the human colonies. The people there are, changing. How they're working together in ways that shouldn't be possible. Moving as one mind. Building technologies that our science says can't exist. On the screen, Jake could see one of the colony reports. It showed the settlement on New Denver, but it didn't look like a normal human colony anymore. The buildings had grown into tall spires that reached into space. The people moved in perfect coordination, their eyes glowing with soft blue light. They look happy, Lisa observed. Jake studied the images. The people did look happy. More than happy, they looked peaceful in a way he had never seen before, as if they had found something they had been searching for their whole lives. But are they still human? He asked. They're more human than they've ever been, Zara said. They're what we were always meant to become. The ship reached Earth's orbit and followed the docking signals to one of the massive structures. As they got closer, Jake could see that it was impossibly complex, made of materials that seemed alive, with patterns that hurt to look at directly, because they were so beautiful. Docking successful, Ben reported. The structure is extending a docking tube to connect with our ship atmosphere. Perfect Earth, normal. It's like they knew exactly what kind of ship we were flying. Jake looked at his crew. They were still the same people he had worked with for years, but something fundamental had changed. They moved with purpose now, as if they knew exactly what they were supposed to do. Are we making a mistake? He asked. I don't think we have a choice, Dr. Turner said. This isn't just happening to us, Commander. It's happening to every human in the galaxy. We can fight it, or we can accept it. Accept what? Accept that we're part of something bigger than we imagined. They left the ship and walked through the docking tube into the massive structure. The walls around them were made of the same shifting material they had seen from outside. The air was warm and smelled like home, though Jake couldn't explain what home smelled like. The corridor led to a large chamber where a woman was waiting for them. She looked human, but there was something different about her. Her skin had a faint glow, and her eyes held the same depth that Jake had seen in his crew. Welcome, she said. I am Maria Santos. I was like you once, confused, frightened, wondering what was happening to my world. Dr. Santos, Dr. Turner said with recognition. You worked at the Lunar Research Station. You disappeared 3 months ago. I didn't disappear, Maria said with a smile. I came home, just as you have. Jake stepped forward. What is this place? What's happening to Earth? Earth is remembering, Maria said, and so are we. For 50,000 years, we lived as children, forgetting our true heritage. But the danger that made us sleep is returning, and it's time for us to wake up. What danger? Maria gestured to a wall that suddenly became transparent. Through it, Jake could see deep space, farther than any human telescope had ever looked. They're coming, Maria said quietly, the ones who consume entire civilizations and leave nothing behind but darkness. Our ancestors fought them to a standstill long ago, but they were not defeated. They retreated to the void between galaxies and waited. In the darkness of deep space, Jake could see something moving, points of anti-light that seemed to eat the stars around them. How long do we have? He asked. Not long, Maria said. That's why the awakening had to happen now. That's why our people across the galaxy are remembering who they truly are. We need to be ready. Jake felt the weight of understanding settling on him. Everything made sense now. The silence from Earth, the fleeing alien ships, the ancient records, the changing of his crew. "We're not just humans," he said quietly. "No," Maria smiled. "We're the guardians of the galaxy. We always have been, and now it's time to do our job." Outside the transparent wall, more massive structures appeared around Earth. Ships the size of cities emerged from hidden places. The network of human colonies across space began to pulse with unified light. The galaxy's protectors were waking up, and the stars themselves seemed to sing with relief. Jake Morrison stood in the observation deck of the ancient structure, watching Earth transform below. The planet's surface now glowed with networks of light that pulsed like a giant heartbeat. Cities that had been buried for 50,000 years were rising from the ground, their spires reaching toward space. "It's beautiful," Captain Walsh said beside him. She had been quiet for hours, but now she seemed more like herself again. Or maybe she was becoming someone new. "Is it still Earth?" Jake asked. "It's more Earth than it's ever been," Dr. Turner said. He was studying readings on a tablet that looked different now, more advanced than anything they had brought from their ship. "Commander, the entire planet is becoming one massive technology network. Every city, every structure, every human on the surface is connected." Maria Santos joined them at the observation window. "Your people are starting to remember their purpose," she said, "but not everyone will choose to join the collective consciousness." "Collective consciousness?" Jake turned to look at her. "You mean people are losing their individual minds?" "Not losing, choosing to share?" Maria smiled. "Some will join the collective to help coordinate our defenses. Others will remain individual to serve as bridges between the awakened and the rest of the galaxy." "What rest of the galaxy?" "Every alien species is running away from us. They're afraid because they remember the old stories. But they'll need our protection soon enough." Ben Parker walked over from a control console that had grown out of the floor while they watched. "Commander, I'm getting reports from our scout ships. The Devourers have reached the galaxy's edge." Jake felt his stomach drop. "How many?" "We can't count them. They're like a wave of darkness rolling across space, consuming everything in their path." On the wall screen, images appeared from the outer rim of the galaxy. Jake saw solar systems going dark, one by one, as something invisible passed through them. Stars didn't explode or burn out. They simply stopped existing, leaving empty holes in space. "How do we fight something like that?" Lisa asked. "We don't fight them," Maria said. "Fighting is what they expect. Fighting is what they feed on. We do something else, which is, we remember what we learned the last time." The floor beneath them became transparent. Jake looked down and gasped. Below the structure, Earth's surface was changing rapidly. Massive geometric patterns covered entire continents. The oceans themselves seemed to be rearranging into spirals and circles. "The planet is becoming a machine," Dr. Turner whispered. "Not a machine," Maria corrected. "A gateway. Earth is preparing to open doorways to places where our people have been waiting." "Waiting where?" "Pocket dimensions. Parallel spaces. Places where the bulk of the ancient human empire has been sleeping for 50,000 years." As if responding to her words, the air above Earth began to shimmer. Cracks appeared in space itself, like looking through broken glass. Through the cracks, Jake could see things that made his mind struggle to understand them. Ships appeared first, not the small vessels that humans used now, but enormous constructs that dwarfed planets. They emerged from the cracks in space slowly, like whales, rising from deep ocean. "How many people are on those ships?" Jake asked. "Billions," Maria said. "The real human empire. They've been waiting for the call to return." One of the massive ships moved closer to their structure. Jake could see that its surface was covered with cities. Lights twinkled across its hull like stars, and he realized that millions of people lived inside that single vessel. "Commander," Ben said urgently, "I'm receiving a communication request from the big ship. Put it through." The air in front of them shimmered, and a figure appeared. It looked human, but like Maria, there was something more about it. The person wore clothes that seemed to be made of starlight itself. "Greetings, children of the distant colonies," the figure said. "I am Admiral Kate Johnson of the Guardian Fleet. We have been waiting a long time to come home." Jake stepped forward. "Admiral, I'm Commander Morrison. We're trying to understand what's happening." "What's happening is that the galaxy needs its protectors again," Admiral Johnson said. "The Devourers have returned, and this time they're stronger. They've consumed 3 other galaxies since we last fought them." 3 galaxies? Dr. Turner looked shocked. "That's trillions of civilizations." "Yes, and all those consumed minds have made the Devourers more powerful. But we've learned new things during our long sleep. This time will be different." On the screens around them, more images appeared. The Guardian fleet was vast beyond imagination. Ships the size of moons, space stations that looked like metal planets, construction vessels that could build new solar systems. "How many of you are there?" Zara asked. "At last count, about 40 billion awakened Guardians," Admiral Johnson said. "Plus the support fleet, the construction corps, the deep space explorers, and the dimension engineers." Jake felt overwhelmed. All human, all human. This is what our species became during our first time among the stars. We built this fleet to protect the galaxy from threats like the Devourers. But the humans on Earth now, the colonies, what about us? Admiral Johnson smiled. "You are our greatest success. We left you to develop naturally, to grow as individuals, to learn wisdom and restraint. You represent the best of what humanity can become." Maria stepped forward. "Some of the current humans are choosing to join the collective consciousness, to help coordinate the defense. Others are remaining individual, to serve as ambassadors to the alien species." "What do you mean, ambassadors?" "The aliens are terrified," Admiral Johnson explained. "They think we're going to conquer them like the old stories say. But we need them to trust us if we're going to save the galaxy." Jake looked at his crew. Lisa and Ben were listening with wonder in their eyes. Zara seemed to be having some kind of internal conversation with herself. Dr. Turner was taking notes on his advanced tablet. "What's our role in all this?" Jake asked. "You choose," Maria said. "You can join the collective and help us coordinate the defense of 3,000 star systems. Or you can remain individual and help us convince the aliens that we're still the same humans they've worked with for centuries. And if we choose to remain individual, then you'll be our voice to the galaxy," Admiral Johnson said. "The proof that the awakened Guardians haven't forgotten their humanity." Jake thought about his family on Earth, about the alien friends he had worked with on Sentinel Prime, about the young civilizations that were probably hiding in fear right now. "I need to stay myself," he said finally. "Someone needs to speak for the humans who aren't part of your collective. And someone needs to convince the aliens to let us help them," Zara added. Lisa and Ben looked at each other. "We'd like to join the collective," Lisa said, "to help coordinate communications across the fleet." "And I want to work with the engineering corps," Ben said. "To help build the defenses we'll need." Dr. Turner closed his tablet. "I want to study the Devourers, to understand how they consume entire civilizations." Maria nodded. "All valid choices. The collective will welcome those who choose to join, and the individual Guardians will work with those who choose to remain separate." On the screens, Jake could see that the Guardian fleet was spreading throughout human space. Some ships moved toward the galaxy's edge to face the Devourers. Others took positions near alien worlds, not as conquerors, but as protectors. "How long do we have?" Jake asked. "The Devourers will reach the first inhabited systems in 6 days," Admiral Johnson said. "We need to be ready by then. Will we win?" Admiral Johnson was quiet for a moment. "We have advantages we didn't have last time. We understand the Devourers better now. We know they're not just destroyers, they're prisoners of something even worse. Prisoners. The civilizations they've consumed aren't gone. They're trapped inside the Devourer fleet, forced to serve the hunger that destroyed them. If we can free those trapped minds, ... Double quotes, Jake understood. We turn the Devourer's own strength against them. Exactly. But it will require perfect coordination between the awakened humans and the alien civilizations. Everyone will need to work together. Jake looked out at Earth one more time. His home planet was now a glowing network of light and purpose. The ancient human empire had returned, but they still needed bridge builders. They still needed individuals who could speak to the hearts of other species. Then we better get started, he said, as the Guardian fleet spread across the galaxy, preparing for the greatest battle in cosmic history. Jake Morrison and his crew prepared for their own mission. They would convince a terrified galaxy that its oldest protectors had returned, not as conquerors, but as friends. The stars were no longer holding their breath. They were singing battle songs. The war began at the edge of the galaxy, where darkness met light. Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Guardian ship Eternal Watch, watching the battle unfold on screens that showed impossible distances. The Devourer fleet stretched across hundreds of star systems like a cancer made of living shadow. Where they passed, stars went out, and planets crumbled to dust. How many ships do they have? Asked Captain Walsh. She had chosen to remain individual like Jake, serving as a liaison between the awakened Guardians and the terrified alien civilizations. They don't have ships, said Admiral Johnson, her image flickering on the communication screen. They are ships. Every civilization they've consumed has become part of their fleet. Jake watched the tactical display. The Guardian fleet was moving into position, massive vessels that could reshape reality itself. But the Devourers kept coming, an endless wave of hungry darkness. Admiral, what's the status on the alien evacuations? Difficult, Admiral Johnson admitted. Most species are too afraid to accept our help. They think this is all part of some human conquest plan. On another screen, Jake could see refugee fleets from dozens of worlds, all fleeing toward the galaxy's center. Some alien ships fired on Guardian vessels that tried to approach them. Others simply ignored all communication attempts. Commander Morrison, came a voice from the bridge speakers. It was Dr. Turner, speaking from the collective consciousness. His voice sounded different now, calmer, like he was speaking for millions of people at once. We need you to convince the Saurian fleet to accept protection. They're heading directly into a Devourer advance. Jake opened a channel to the Saurian ships. Krogged H. This is Jake Morrison. You need to change course. Human vessel, came the angry reply. We will not be deceived. Your people have shown their true nature. We will not become your slaves. Kroth, listen to me. We're trying to save you. Save us. By awakening an ancient empire. By turning your planet into a weapon. We have seen the old records, Morrison. We know what humans are capable of. Jake felt frustrated. The old records tell you what we did 50,000 years ago. But look at what we've done for the last 500 years. We've worked together. We've been friends. Until now. On the screen, Jake could see the Saurian fleet moving toward a system where Devourer scouts were already consuming the outer planets. If they didn't change course, they would fly directly into destruction. Zara, Jake said to Captain Walsh, open a channel to all alien fleets in this sector. Are you sure that's wise? We're running out of time. The communication system connected Jake to thousands of alien ships scattered across local space. Representatives from dozens of species appeared on screen. Saurians, ethereals, arachnids, and many others. I know you're all afraid, Jake began. I know the awakening of the Guardian fleet looks like the return of an ancient threat, but I need you to remember something. For 500 years, humans have lived among you as equals. We've shared knowledge, traded goods, worked together to solve problems. That was before you revealed your true nature, said an ethereal representative. Our true nature is exactly what you've always seen, Jake replied. The Guardians who awakened aren't different people. They're the same humans who have been your neighbors and friends. They just remembered knowledge that was sleeping. Knowledge of conquest and domination, growled a Saurian captain. Knowledge of protection and sacrifice, Jake corrected. Look at what's happening right now. The Guardian fleet isn't attacking alien worlds. They're positioning themselves between you and the Devours. On the tactical display, Jake highlighted the Guardian ship positions. It was true, every major human vessel was placing itself in the path of the Devourer advance, shielding alien colonies and refugee fleets. Admiral Johnson, Jake called. Show them. Admiral Johnson's image appeared on the alien communication channel. Representatives of the galactic civilizations, I am Admiral Johnson of the Guardian Fleet. I want you to see something. The view changed to show a Guardian ship near the galaxy's edge. It was one of the massive vessels, larger than most space stations. As they watched, a wave of Devourer energy struck the ship. The Guardian vessel's shields flared and held, but Jake could see the strain. That ship contains 30 million of my people, Admiral Johnson said quietly. They're standing between the Devourers and the ethereal colony world of Crystal Falls. When the Devourers break through, and they will break through, those 30 million humans will die to buy you time to escape. The alien representatives were silent. This is what Guardians do, Admiral Johnson continued. We don't conquer, we protect. Even when the people we're protecting don't trust us. Jake saw movement on the tactical display. Some of the alien fleets were changing course, moving toward the protected corridors that the Guardian fleet had established. Commander Morrison, came a new voice. It was Vextar, the ethereal elder from Sentinel Prime. We remember now. The old records speak of Guardians who sacrificed themselves to protect younger species. Yes, Jake said, that's who we've always been. But even as some alien fleets began to trust them, the battle at the galaxy's edge was growing desperate. Guardian ships were falling to the Devourer advance, each one taking millions of awakened humans with it. Admiral, Jake said, we're losing too many people. There has to be another way. There is, Admiral Johnson said, but it requires the alien fleets to work with us directly. We need their ships to carry our people into the heart of the Devourer formation. Why? Because Dr. Turner was right about the Devourers. They're not evil, they're victims. Every civilization they've consumed is trapped inside their collective, forced to serve the hunger that destroyed them. If we can reach those trapped minds, ... double quotes, Jake understood. We can turn them against their captors. But it means alien crews working alongside awakened humans. It means trusting us completely. Jake looked at the alien representatives on his screen. You heard her. Will you help us? For a long moment, nobody spoke. Then Krog, the Saurian commander, made a decision. If humans are willing to die to protect us, he said slowly, then we should be willing to die to help them save the galaxy. One by one, other alien commanders agreed. Within hours, mixed crews of humans and aliens were flying toward the Devourer fleet in ships protected by Guardian technology. The final battle was unlike anything in galactic history, as the mixed fleets penetrated deep into Devourer space. Awakened humans used their ancient knowledge to broadcast signals into the heart of the enemy formation. The signals carried a simple message: remember who you were. Jake watched from the bridge of a Saurian ship as the Devourer fleet began to change. Ships that had been dark for thousands of years suddenly blazed with light. Voices that had been silent for millennia began to speak again. This is the Andromedan science vessel Hope, came a transmission from inside the Devourer formation. We remember. We were explorers once, before the hunger took us. This is the Magellanic Defense Fleet, came another voice. We were protectors of our home worlds. We can be protectors again. Across the Devourer formation, Trapped civilizations were breaking free from the collective hunger that had enslaved them. They turned their weapons against the dark ships that still served the Devourers. Fighting for their freedom, the tide of battle turned. The Devourer advance stopped, then began to retreat, as more and more trapped civilizations remembered their true nature. "It's working," Captain Walsh said, with wonder in her voice. But the victory came at a cost. Many Guardian ships had been destroyed in the battle. Billions of awakened humans had given their lives to save the galaxy. "Was it worth it?" Jake asked Admiral Johnson. "Ask me in 1,000 years," she replied, "when we see what kind of galaxy we've helped to create." In the aftermath of the battle, everything changed. The alien civilizations no longer feared the awakened humans. Instead, they worked together to help the freed civilizations rebuild their worlds. The Guardian fleet took its place as protectors of the galaxy, but not as rulers. Jake Morrison returned to Sentinel Prime, which had been rebuilt as a meeting place for all species. He kept his role as a bridge between the awakened Guardians and the rest of the galaxy. Sometimes he talked to Admiral Johnson and the collective consciousness. Sometimes he spoke for the individual humans who had chosen to remain separate. But mostly, he watched the stars and marveled at what they had accomplished. The galaxy was safe. The Devourers had been defeated not through conquest but through compassion, and humanity had proven that their greatest strength was not their technology or their numbers, but their willingness to sacrifice for others. One evening, as Jake stood in the observation deck watching the traffic of ships from hundreds of species, Captain Walsh joined him. "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if we had chosen differently?" she asked. "If we had joined the collective instead of staying individual?" Jake thought about it. "I think the galaxy needed both kinds of humans. The awakened ones to provide the knowledge and power to fight the Devourers, and people like us to prove that power doesn't have to corrupt. And now we do what Guardians have always done. We watch, we protect, and we make sure that no civilization ever has to face the darkness alone." Outside the window, ships from across the galaxy moved through space in perfect harmony. Humans and aliens working together, exploring new worlds, sharing knowledge, building a better future. The stars were no longer holding their breath. They